Hello, beautiful people. I'm making this video because I can't make a decision. What do I want? My quest began, I wanted to buy a DAP. So I'm looking on YouTube, I'm looking at different models, going in different brands, Sony, Kawan, Theo, Astell&Kern, Ibasso, and few others, and nothing helped me. Well, the problem is I need to feel it. I need to see it, I need to play with it. A lot of the things that I find reviewed on YouTube is for professional use. It's made by those companies that actually either sell them, manufacture them, or promote them, and they are tested with a wide variety of in-ear monitors, headphones, additional amps and DACs, and it doesn't help me. I wanted to focus on one company. I didn't find many English spoken videos for the 2020 lineup of Astell&Kern. There's a lot of it in Korean, there's a lot of it in Chinese, some even in Russian. There are individual players with their overlook and overview, but nothing side by side. So I'm making this video for that. A little background. Astell&Kern for 2020 or end of 2019 through 2020 released three interesting models. One is an SR25, which is their A&norma lineup. It's a very entry level DAP. Yeah, entry level for Astell&Kern, I guess, not for everyone else, because you can get a Theo or you can get anything else for 200 and be completely happy. But that's Astell&Kern. Design very unusual. We will get to that. But boy, they are beautiful. So that's SR25. Second one for the comparison, it will be an SA700, which is a retro player. It goes back, its roots are going back to AK-120, I believe, which is one of their first players that it was released. And this was meant to be a very retro looking. It's still beautiful. We will get back to it. The last one is the Futura line SE200. That's almost 3 times as much as the least expensive one, but it has also the most features. It has a bigger screen. I think the biggest finger magnet you can find over there. It will be fun to compare all three. And I didn't even touch the most expensive lineup, which is their Ultima line. The prices go easily 3,500 and up, depending on the material. I believe they have special editions in gold or even copper, and some of the websites and resellers that I found have their products from this and past generations going, I don't know, $45,000 to $5,000. So that's a lot. So I wanted to focus on all three. I understand I could have been completely happy with the basic one. Anything will be better probably than your smartphone these days, and your streaming services probably through a smartphone. So there's it. Let me switch to a portable camera. Probably it's going to be my iPhone. Unfortunately, my GoPro with head mount is out of commission at this time. I will try to make it as at least horrible and as watchable as possible. So let's switch. There we go. Let's start with A&norma SR25. All of the boxes are not considered premium. You're not gonna find wood over there or very thick cardboard, but they are nice overall. All of their players and their boxes come in this protective sleeve, which it's horrible to take apart when your other hand is filming. So I will pause for a second. That was effortless. All right, with the sleeve out of the way. By the way, it has all the specifications for the player, as well as the UPC label and a color. This will be a moon silver. All right, the inner box is a little more sturdy, and it's very quite similar to an Apple product unboxing. It's very, very tight. Come on. There we go. All right, nothing on the inside. I would wish there would be some sort of a foam to protect the screen. No, nothing. It's just cardboard. All right, it's out of the way. And this is what we get. It's the most unusual design. Maybe I should, there we go. Now the display is straight. All right, let's pick it up. We will take a look at it in a second. What else we have here? A pull tab. We have some accessories, and hopefully I can do it one-handed. That wasn't that bad. I'm not gonna open the packet, but it has the warranty information, instruction, and a set of screen protectors. I believe for front and back, which is always nice and welcome. No case though. If you want to get a case, you have to get one separately. A piece of cardboard with a piece of plastic, and that is an SD card cover. Interesting. What else we have in the box? It will be a cable. Very snug. There we go. All right, with everything out of the way, let me just make room here. It's your typical USB-A to USB-C. It's very, very thick, and it's nice quality. One note on this cable: I tried many USB-C cable for syncing the player, for copying music. None of them worked, unless you get very, very short and thick one. Except this one, nothing works. So I recommend using the original one. All right. So definitely, it feels tiny. It feels tiny in your hand. We have physical buttons, previous track, play, pause, and next track. The back is glass. It has a very interesting pattern. We have a volume dial, very clicky. USB-C on the bottom, and we have a slot for an SD card. Currently there's a blank, so it's nice that in the packaging you find an extra, just in case. You don't want any gunk and lint from your pocket jeans to catch in a port. The top of the player from the left has a power button, a 2.5mm balanced connection, and 3.5mm unbalanced. All right. Let's get to the fun part of this player. The whole front is occupied by a screen, but actually it isn't. If you look closer, you're maybe getting 75 to 80% of the actual real estate. And the whole bottom, we can call it, I guess, a chin, is hosting a capacitive home button, and that's it. So this will definitely impact your usability, because the actual real estate is much smaller than it is. Hopefully there's some juice left. I hope there is. Those players power under a minute. It's not the worst. The highlights for this DAP, definitely the weight. It's under 200 grams. I believe it's 178. It's extremely light, and it feels very, very good in the hand, despite some sharp edges. So here is what I'm talking about. You get less screen than I would wish to see. That's not even the biggest problem. All right, let's go through the setup. It is Android based, but it's not a full-blown Android. It's a customized openAndroid. So it doesn't come with Play services. You really use this player as is, and you can sideload certain apps, certain music apps, if you choose to. So I can choose a time zone. By the way, the screen is responsive, at least right now, and it's high quality, despite only 720 by 1280 resolution. I'm gonna choose my time zone. Actually, it doesn't matter what I choose. And that's it. 3 steps, and we are back in the application. I'm not sure if this one is loaded with any music. When it comes from the factory for the first time, it does have some samples. I believe it has an MQA track, a DFF, and some flags. Yeah, unfortunately, there is nothing right now. The user interface is very simple, and always the main player starts. We have songs, albums, artists, genre, playlist, folder, so you can browse your SD card or internal memory and pick your music that way. You can also delete and copy. You can mark them as favorite. You have the MQS for the master tracks. CD library is if you use the AK CD Ripper. If you convert your audio CDs to WAV and then to FLAC or whatever you want. Services is where we will access streaming services, and we also have settings. The one thing you're not going to find here compared to many other players is the bottom row of virtual button that you find on many Android players. Astell&Kern wanted to be extremely simplistic, even in the user interface. So the only button you get is a capacitive home button. Let me just unlock it. So if I go, for instance, to settings, I can hit the home button and it goes back home. There is a virtual button, and it's a virtual floating button, as you can see here, and it acts as a back button. I wish there was a better implementation. It gets in the way on a screen size, on a screen of this size. You can pull down the menu from the top. You get you can get a typical Android options like your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, equalizer. You can connect it to a computer for transferring media. You can connect it as a line out if you want to start it as a DAC for your computer or laptop. There's a car mode, which kind of changes and simplifies the interface and places it in horizontal orientation. Really not much to it. It would be almost a perfect entry-level DAP if it wasn't for the screen size, and I'm going to give you an example in a second. So let me fire up my laptop. Astell&Kern guarantees you can download certain APKs from the Android store, or actually a third-party APK repository like APK Pure. Let me go with the Apple Music. I will connect my cable, and of course this is a USB-A and I need a USB-C. All right, just give me a second. And we are back. So finally, once you connect your player to your computer, it will enter disk mode. If you have a Mac, you have to download the Android transfer utility. On a Windows, there's no additional steps. You browse to a folder called Open Service and just drop whatever APK you have. This one will be an Apple Music one. Let's go back to our player. I'm gonna hit the A, which also invokes the menu. Focus, focus, focus. Let's go to services. So there is few pre-installed. One is called a V-Link. A V-Link is a web interface for YouTube. So you can listen to YouTube music or watch YouTube videos. We also have Deezer and we have Tidal. None of those services allow you to download the music and store them for offline use. You would have to download a Deezer or Tidal APK from a repository. So we also have here the Apple Music. So let me install it. It only takes a few seconds. There we go. And now I can open it. And it looks like a typical Apple Music app. Let me agree. Sure. I'm not sending anything to Apple. We are offline. I never specify my Wi-Fi. So the app works. This player, because it's an entry-level player, has only a quad-core processor. The more things happen on the screen, even as simple things as scrolling through the content, can experience a very jittery result. It can be very, very jittery when scrolling through larger music libraries. The keyboard, because it's a tiny screen like that, is a joke. My thumb is covering the whole thing. I feel like I need toothpicks to kind of type anything, or I have to be extremely slow. So it is doable. It is manageable. Like I said, under services, under services, we have also other ones like Tidal. And this one won't open because I'm not on Wi-Fi. If you're looking for an entry-level device, go ahead. Now, what am I listening to music on for the most part? Let's put this guy aside. We'll get back to it in a second. I don't have currently a desktop DAC or an amp, but I do have a pair of headphones and IAMs. So my personal choice for headphones is the one from a French company, Focal. This is the clear edition. They are open back. They're extremely bright. Very easy to drive by a smartphone or a DAP. And very, very comfortable. Focal ships their headphones with very, very sturdy cables, but they are also extremely heavy. I ordered a set of replacement cables. This is a balanced 2.5 cable from, I believe, Impact Cables. I believe so. And I will add it to the description where you can get your own cables. I believe these were, I only waited 3 to 4 days before shipping, and I was able to customize the connectors, customize the cables, the threads. I'm very, very happy with them. They are just super, and they are tangle free. I also have a set of IEMs. Not a fan of this cable. So these are Mezais, right? Pentas. Not the cheapest ones. I believe they go for between 1,000 to 1,100. You might ask me why not something from Campfire like Andromeda. Campfire IEMs are a little bit on the bass side for me, or at least with the tracks I listen to. I prefer something a little more balanced and bright. So these are great for me. All right, let's take a look at the retro one, SA700. Okay, time for Astell&Kern SA700. Comes in a much heavier box. I believe the red A is reminiscent of their retro series. This one is a little easier to open, at least the sleeve. Now this part is tricky because the player is just standing upright. Come on, there we go. This is the box of accessories. I'm not gonna go over these because they are exactly the same as with SR25, except for the screen protectors, which I believe this one doesn't have. And here we have the player. It's a beauty. If you like retro look industrial design, it's just amazing. The problem with it weighs a brick. It's extremely heavy. I can't imagine keeping this guy in a pocket without pulling the pants down. It's completely made not out of aluminum, it's stainless steel. It has a little plastic window on top, and that's for your radios, for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Right up front, I will tell you one thing. Here's my Mac. If I sync my music library, it doesn't matter over Wi-Fi or over Bluetooth. If I place the player like this, it will immediately disconnect from both radios. I believe routing an antenna somewhere, maybe with some ridges in the corners, will be a better design choice. Something to keep in mind. So we know how it feels, extremely heavy. You could probably cut your steak. It's not as sharp on the edges. They have a little chamfer. Because it's stainless steel, it handles a little bit better fingerprints than your typical glass. So we have a screen. It's a little bit bigger than the one for the A&norma, which was 3.6. This one is 4.1. On the side, we have with a protective guard. It's not removable. Volume wheel. Also clicky like the other one. On the bottom, we have our charging port and sync port, and we have a protective door for an SD card slot. On the side, we have standard 3 buttons. These are circular compared to the horizontal flat ones on the SR. And again, we have previous track, play, pause, and next track. On the top, this time going from the left, we have our 3.5mm unbalanced, 2.5mm balanced, and a power button. Let's remove the cover. Just a film protector for the screen. It feels expensive. It feels right, but it's extremely heavy. And it has its advantages and disadvantages. The screen is a little bigger, but it's still not edgeless. You can see there. You can see where the screen begins on the top, and again, we have a nasty chin on the bottom, which is the capacitive home button. Now, because this is a retro edition that goes back to their first player, it's scanned a little bit different. It still has the same menu, but it has dominated red color compared to gold as any other player, and the boot animation is a little bit different. So let me power it on. Again, the screen is very crisp, and the colors are accurate despite low resolution of 720 by 1280. The volume dial has a ring around it, and it's extremely bright, although you can control it in the settings. It will change the intensity based on the volume, but also on the type of the track you're playing, depending on if it's on an MP3, an MQA, DSD, DFF, or a FLAC. And also its bitrate, 16, 24, 32-bit, it will change colors. So it goes, I believe, from reds, yellows, purples, blues, and greens. So screen is a little more manageable because it's tad bigger and it's not slanted like the other one. Oh, I forgot to say why it's slanted. Well, let me just first grab it one more time. Astell&Kern says that when you're holding something, you're holding it because of how your wrist is attached to, I think, to your hand. I don't get it. You always would hold something off angle. So with having it, instead of this, having like this, it's always straight. I don't buy it. I think it's a gimmick, but it is. All right, so the player booted finally. We're gonna set it up just like the other one, and this again, 3 clicks, time zone, name, and that's it. And the menu is it's exactly the same as the other one, aside from dominated reds versus golds on the other one. And you will find exactly the same options. This one, because it's stainless steel, actually I'm going to show you one more party trick. The volume animation is different, and it goes back to the first player as well. So yes, I understand, I have nothing connected. So you can change the intensity, and it goes to 150 steps. It's a very, very interesting way of controlling sound. And I actually like this bar as well. So the build quality, because it's stainless steel, extremely heavy, it's 330 grams compared to 174, 178 on the other one. So think of it as it's twice the weight. But it feels very, very solid, and it feels expensive. It's $12.99. Well, and then we have your $6.99. So your little budget hands. The keyboard is more manageable because it's a little bit bigger. Let me just adjust the brightness. They can get very bright. Come on. But you can tell the difference in, there we go, that's much better. And the screen real estate. This one also has a Cirrus Logic dual DAC. This one comes with not the top of the line, but it has A&norma DAC. It will be interesting to compare it to the last one that I have in the lineup. Sorry folks for not showing much of the menus or playback and such. I didn't load anything on these. I've been primarily using the SE200, and I will be more in depth with when we get to that one. All right, let's visit the last one. And we have the SE200. I kid you not, every time Astell&Kern releases a player, a box has to be so different that you have to find your way to open it. So I thought first this would be like a slide out design because it's a little textured here, but no. So this player is $17.99, and despite the price, the box doesn't feel premium. It's on a heavy side, but that's it. All right, let's remove that. So we have the inner box, nothing really special. It's completely blacked out. So all the specs you will find I guess, on the sleeve. This is a silver moon, or moon silver color, just like the Norma. So let's open it up. So this is a 5-inch behemoth. So let's grab it. I'm just gonna place it here for now. Did it come with many accessories? I don't think so. It has an insert. They are so snug, I can't get to them. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna skip it. Has exactly the same contents as the other players. Has a set of screen protectors for all sides of the player, which is nice. Has the same charging cable and also a protective cover for the SD slot. So I won't even bother. All right, this will be a real finger magnet because it's bigger, but it's completely blackened on the back, and it doesn't use glass in the back or at the front, where we're gonna get, or the top, where we're gonna get in a second. So this is ceramic. So the backing is ceramic, and it's, as you can see, my reflection over there. It's a mirror finish. It's beautiful. So let's go over it. So we have the screen. I'm gonna peel it off in a second from the top. And this is interesting. So this is their motto, and I think that's the only one that has dual types of DACs. On the left, we have unbalanced and balanced AKM, and that's the 4499, so that's the flagship. And we have also a ESS, unbalanced and balanced. I guess your pick, which one you prefer more. And they do have slightly different sound signature, but also the battery life, which we're gonna get in a second. The styling is interesting on this guy. The curves, how the aluminum meets everything, and it wraps around the volume knob. It's really, really nice. This thing feels, yeah, extremely premium. USB-C on the bottom, SD card with a cover currently there. This one has 256 gigs of built-in memory. This SA700 had 128, and SR25 has 64. The power button went from the top to the side, and now it's separate on the top. And then we have, again, previous play, pause, and next song. The one thing that is interesting, because it's a very, very bold trapezoid-like build, the edges are extremely sharp, and you can kind of tell. That's basically an outline just from holding it. I recommend getting a case. I'm actually expecting a case today, so I will try to add to the video at the very, very end. All right, let's take off the screen protector. Of course, something gunked up already on it. There we go. So there is still a chin, but it's a 5-inch screen. You get a lot more. Let me also pull up the top. And that's where you will find the 2 sets of DACs. The top is also covered in ceramic. I wish it was more pronounced which DAC is which. You just have to kind of remember that the left one is AKM and the right one is ESS. Aside from sound signature, does it matter? Well, yes, in terms of battery life. This can provide up to 10 hours on the AKM DAC and 14 hours on the ESS. And for my testing, yes, that's accurate. If you don't play too much, if you just listen at set volume, let's say half, it will deliver that. Now, it doesn't beat the king of low power DACs. This was the Cirrus Logic. This guy gives you 21 hours. Oh my gosh. It's fantastic. Basically double. This guy, aside from how I love its build, it's a freaking disappointment. 8 hours tops listening to FLAC. Less if you play with the menu or keeping brightness more than 40%. Charging time for this one is 4.5 to 5 hours. No quick charge, guys, sorry. The SR25, because it's newer, has quick charge, 2.5 hours to charge this battery from flat to full to give you 21 hours. This guy also charges 2.5 hours to give you your 10/14 hours of playback. Well, you choose. Weight. This guy is 274 grams. 330. 174. Find your pick. Good sounding, very light on features. Retro, a freaking brick. And this one is just right. Is it too big? Maybe. It's not gonna be something I'm gonna probably take as often outside. It's not your little jogging or gym best buddy. For that, probably you still want to carry your cell phone, or maybe the smallest one. Like I said, I find nothing wrong about this one, aside from I wish it had an edgeless screen going from top to bottom. It would make it probably at that point perfect. Maybe also an octa-core CPU. These two have quad-core CPUs, and it shows. As music plays and you're changing your tracks, there's a lot of stutter. Scrolling through the tracks, stutter. I don't like that. I'm sorry. We grew up with cell phones, and in 2020, you release something that is 10 frames per second, and we just get angry about it. So let me power on this one, and you can already see it's a finger magnet city. Put a case or a wrap. I think D brand has, I believe, a set of wraps. If not, you can you could probably beg them to make one for you, or the ones on Alibaba. But I'm gonna try to show also the case when it arrives today. All right, let me power on this guy. This is an octa-core, so it's gonna be a little bit faster. And this one also has a ring around the volume knob. Starts in blue, and depending on volume or track, it will change color. There we go. Man, I didn't want it to start with Celine Dion. So I can browse through my music. So this one has, I didn't load an SD card to this one. I didn't want it to. It has 256 gigs and it's fine. And scrolling through this library, it's fine. It's pretty quick to catch on an update on the album art, and it's pretty fine. This one is a 16-bit MP3, color red. This one is a 16-bit FLAC, so still color red. Once we get to 24 or higher, the color should change to something else. I'm just completely on shuffle right now. Do we have any MQS here? Yes, we do. So we have some Beatles, we have Radiohead. 2113, that is a good track. Should change to kind of greenish, and it does. The navigation is extremely simple. You can use the volume wheel or by hand, adjust your sound. Don't show me again, I know my listening preference. Extremely fluid. Different gestures depending on from which screen side you're pulling. You can go to your now playing track. Oops. You can go to your play history, scrolling from the bottom. typical Android controls going from the top. And your typical Astell&Kern, this time in blue, on the SE200. Let me just hit the home button. Just like all the other players, so it doesn't matter if you're buying the 3.6, 4.1, or 5-inch, you're still gonna get that horrible, in my case, in my opinion, virtual button. You will get that when you go to your services. So I have Tidal and Apple Music. I believe I have to enable Wi-Fi. I don't think I downloaded any for offline listening. But this screen size is usable. And keyboard, well, it's your full size, almost on a phone keyboard. So that's gonna work. You still have your virtual button. You can move it wherever you want. Access a back button. And this actually just works. So I can go to my music, go to my playlists. And for the most part, everything is just working fine. Would I recommend this model over anything else? If you have sensitive IEMs or a very good pair of headphones, you might actually hear good and subtle differences between the two DACs, between AKM and ESS. Unfortunately, my hearing is shut. I used to hear at very extreme volumes to music in the past, and I have this slight ringing sensation in my ears, something that is unfortunately not going away ever. So I have differences in picking up certain subtle changes in the sound signature. For vocals, I try to keep I try to keep them 50-50 chances to either DAC, so I tend to switch. Sometimes when I know the battery is on the lower side, I will switch to ESS because I know it will give me extra juice. This thing, because it's aluminum, stays cool in a hand all the time. This guy is a heatsink, the SA700. It gets very hot during charging, very hot during use. When it overheats, it doesn't shut down, but the UI is unusable. It will be extremely stuttery, and sometimes even playback will stutter, so keep that in mind. And here we have O3. Which one you will go with? Well, I think the one you can afford, unless you don't give a damn. You will go probably with the cheapest one and get a better set of headphones or IEMs and still enjoy the music. Why am I not saying anything about the music quality? Because I can't compare apples to apples, apples to oranges. I might tell you something sounds great on these two versus this one, or this one versus these two. It all depends on your track, on your source, on your IEMs, on your headphones, if using an additional DAC or amp. It all matters differently. And I might tell you that my IEMs work great with this DAP, but you might put Andromedas or something else and it will sound completely different. I don't want to get into that fight. This is more of a how it looks, how it feels. Would I get it? Well, so I have O3. I paid for O3. I'm not planning on keeping O3. I already disqualified this one. If it had 20 hours and it was made of aluminum and it had better radios, so it doesn't kill the radios when I put it close to anything metal, it would have been a winner and I would just say goodbye to anything else. But no, 8 hours of battery life, 330 grams, and very choppy interface when this thing is a hand warmer, disqualifies. Bye-bye. This one is very fun. It's super light. The off angle looking at it bothered me for a brief second. I guess I adjusted to it, but I wanted to know if there's better sound that I can actually get with Studio Master tracks, and the basic DAC, which doesn't output a ton of power, might not give you that. Still, so much better than your traditional cell phone or any old MP3 player from the past. Still, if you want to experience Astell&Kern, go even with this one. You might actually like it. I decided to keep this one. Reminds me the most of a smartphone. It's big, it's clunky, it is beautiful. I'm gonna keep it in the case. So I'm gonna add to the case in just a few moments. That's it. That's a first look at Astell&Kern lineup for 2020. SR25 A&norma, SA700, and A&futura SC200. The choice is yours. And lastly, what for you guys was maybe a few seconds, for me was a week and a half. We're gonna look at the case offering for the SC200. Gave this guy a little clean. You probably remember it's a finger magnet, but it's a beautiful, beautiful mirror finish. That is extremely trippy. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here. This one is made of leather. I believe the cases for the other two models are leather-like, but this one is from a belly of a cow. I don't know any cows. I never asked a cow, so I don't know if that's true. All right, a little warranty card. Sure. If it ever starts sizzling. All right. Should I be pissed off that I see this imperfection? Nah. There's gonna be probably a nice little patina growing over time, as the oils from my hand tend to darken the casing, and probably it will get more soft over time. It's extremely stiff right now. All right, let me put it on and see how it looks. All right, so we have the case in. Fits like a glove. It definitely adds a nice grip. Doesn't take much from the design, although I wish I could see a little bit of that ceramic back. You lose the tactile buttons with these leather cases. You can still use them all just fine, but you lose that feel of which button is which, and for some that might be extremely important, for some not. Overall, I'm very happy. This will definitely preserve the player in a more pristine way. Am I gonna get a screen protector? Nah, I never have. I put to use what I get, and I usually take care of it. Very, very good. I haven't destroyed anything yet, so I guess that's a good thing. All right, that's it. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions regarding the players that I have, shoot in comments or ask your question on Reddit. I'll be very happy to help. Thanks.